Hi everyone, I'm Phil from the Student Liaison team here at Marjon. Thank you for joining us this morning for our Mental Health Matters talk as part of our Marjon Live programme. Shortly we'll be joined by Sarah, Amanda and Angeline from our student support team, and they'll be presenting for around 15 minutes. Then after that we'll have around 10 minutes for questions. Okay, Sarah, over to you.
Thank you, Phil. Hi, my name's Sarah and I am a specialist mentor here at Marjon. First of all, I'd like you to welcome you to this presentation. Whether you're a prospective student, a student thinking of coming to Marjon, a parent, guardian, friend, welcome to all. Hopefully this presentation will assure you or reassure you that Marjon cares about your mental health and well-being. Even before the COVID situation, mental health has always been very important here at Marjon. We care about our students. We're a small university and our smallness is our strength. We know our students, we care about our students. And the first thing we say is if you are having an issue with your well-being or mental health, we encourage you to be proactive, be realistic and talk to somebody, be it a friend, be it a professional, a member of staff. There are so many people out there wanting to help you. As you can see here from this slide, there's a list of those teams and people. Student support, well, the clue's in the title. We have a wellbeing and student counselling service, but I'm going to leave Angeline, one of our student counsellors, to talk to you about that. There's disability support. So if you have a mental or physical disability, you can get targeted support to suit your needs. And my colleague, Amanda, will talk to you about that. The chaplaincy is not just there for religious purposes. Michelle and Claire, who run it, are the most welcoming, kindest people you've ever met. In the chaplaincy, you'll find the Marshall Room, where there's free tea and coffee and a warm place to talk or be by yourself. On the academic side, each student is awarded a PDT, which is a personal development tutor, and they are your academic bridge and have an overall view of your academic progress. The reason you're coming to university, the most important, is your degree, of course, but we want you to have a proper student experience. And I think that's probably more of a concern in these times than it's ever been before. And our student union and students and the student ambassadors, we'll talk about that later, are here to make sure your student experience lives up to every expectation. We also have a welfare concern group, which keeps an eye over students who may be struggling academically, and a mental health working group where we organise events throughout the year. These aren't mandatory, they're basically to encourage people to come along, talk, offload, whatever. As I said, your welfare is our concern. And so with that, I shall hand you over to Angeline.
Thank you, Sarah, and good morning, everyone. Just wanted to say that it was so good to listen to you then, Sarah. It just reminded me, with everything that we've been going through these past few months, about the amount of support that's still available. It hasn't changed at Marjon, and I'm proud to be able to say that too. Albeit a lot of that has been remotely, and some of that will still continue. So we're thinking about how can you access that support? Well, we have wellbeing advisors within student support, and I'm glad to be able to tell you they're a great bunch and they're human beings as well. If you want to get in touch with them by email or by phone, you'll be offered very quickly a half-hour appointment, and it'll be one-to-one, private. You'll have an opportunity to talk about your concerns, to talk things through, and your wellbeing advisor will support you to discuss what your needs might be and the support that's available, what might help you the best. So this could be anything from finance to academic, disability and inclusion, or counselling. You'll be given time to think about things. You won't be under pressure, and you can make a choice either then or later about which way you want to move. This is why quite often we call these appointments sort of signposting. So we're there to signpost you, and it's within your autonomy to decide which way you want to go forward. So referrals to the counselling service. So it might be as a result of a wellbeing appointment that you've chosen counselling, or it might be that you want to get in touch with the counselling service yourself, and you'll find the email address to do that on this PowerPoint. Again, if you drop a line, send an email, either myself or my colleague Dinah will get back to you very quickly, and we'll offer you another half-hour appointment, which we call an initial appointment. And it'll be a time for you to, again, find out if counselling is a way forward for you. Find out a bit about the nuts and bolts about the service, you know, how it works. So there are initially seven sessions on offer. The fact that it's a term time service, all about data protection, and you can ask questions. There'll be no obligation for you at all to make a decision within that wellbeing, the initial appointment, about whether you want to start counselling. It's fine if you do know, but if you want some time to think about it, or if it'll be something that you might choose in the future, it's absolutely fine. So a little bit about, I think I mentioned my colleague Dinah and myself, we're the two counsellors that are within Marjon at the moment. We are both fully qualified and members of an ethical body, which is a bit of a mouthful whenever I say it. It's British Association for Counselling and Psychotherapy, BACP. So we are registered with them. You can look us up if you go onto their website. You should find our names there. And we are accredited or in the process of accreditation with them. Dinah and myself have also gone through some training with BACP in Open University to make sure that we are working ethically when we are working remotely. So, foundation of trust. All counselling is based, the relationship is based on that foundation of trust. It's a confidential service. Those two words mean a lot. And within the appointments that you have, we can actually discuss a little bit more about what confidentiality is. We do have a legal obligation in very rare circumstances to break confidentiality. But if ever that happens, and as I say, it's very rare, it's not something that we do to someone. We always include our clients, explain what we need to do so that they're a part of that process. It's not about policing, it's about supporting our clients. And so we maintain that confidentiality. We will talk to you more, as I said earlier, about the data protection, how we store notes, why we store them, all sorts of things around that, as I say, the nuts and bolts. And it's a time, as I say, that you'll be able to hopefully feel relaxed, to talk about your concerns, to explore things and feel supported. And maybe if during that time we find out that there's an area, again, within student support that might support you further, we'll always chat that through, talk that through with you and enable you to find a way forward. So it's a little bit about counselling, about myself and Dinah. We will still be working remotely in September, but I know that as time goes on, Marjon will be looking at how we can, when the government says, look at returning to face in some way. So I hope that's been helpful for you, and there'll be an opportunity for questions soon. And I'd like to pass you on now to Amanda. Thank you.
Hi, thank you, Angeline. I know you do an amazing job. We understand at Marjon's, this is absolutely a huge change, this transition for you. So we want to make it as easy as we can, because your mental health is really, really important to us. Marjon's itself is a very small, nurturing university. You can probably see that by the campus photographs. And because we're small and we're nurturing, we're really quite a calm place to be. We've got 2,600 students registered last year. So you'll probably find that in a lot of secondary schools, Marjon's is probably about that size. And we're very much looking forward to welcome you and welcoming new people as well as returning guests. So thank you. So what is DIAS and what does DIAS mean for you? So DIAS means the Disability and Inclusion Advice Service. We are a team that's appointed to assist, guide and advise you throughout your degree. We can support students that have a diagnosis through their academic studies, their well-being, and their whole university experience. If you feel you wish to gain support, there is a process that you will need to go through. We need to have an assessment of needs. We have two lovely ladies that will talk you through that every step of the way. We have Nikki and Anne, and they are absolutely brilliant. They've been doing it for years and they know the way forward inside out. They will guide you through the process straight away. It's confidential, so what you talk to them, they will be able to share with the ED governing body, but they will not share your diagnosis with the rest of the university. If you wish to disclose that to your tutor, that's your choice. Okay. If you would like to speak to Nikki or Anne, the email and the phone number is on the screen now. However, it's also at the last slide as well if you wish to get a pen and paper, and just jot it down, send them an email or give them a ring. They are working remotely, so you'd probably go to an answer phone and they'll be able to contact you back. And what we recommend is that you contact these people, the disability service, sooner rather than later, because what it would be nice to is if we could get this process up and running, so when you come and join us in September, the main part of the assessment process will be complete. They will talk you through the disabled student allowance claim and what evidence is likely to be accepted or not. They will work alongside you every step of the way, and if your circumstances change over the time you're with us, they're on hand to talk you through that to be able to gain extra support if needed. Now I'm going to talk to you a bit more detail about what support you can get if it is recommended by your DSA claim. The support you will receive will depend on you. It will depend on your condition, your diagnosis, because you're unique, and therefore the support that you will get at Marjohn's will be tailored to your individual needs. Here's some examples. So for some people, it might be beneficial to have a reader or a note taker in lectures. So these will be employed, especially if you have another diagnosis like dyslexia. Also, there's a study skills tutor that could work alongside you to do with your academic writing. It may be that you be eligible for specialist equipment. So for some people, it will be a laptop. For others, it may be an ergonomically designed chair or table raisers or any other equipment that you would need to access your learning at Marjohn's, because we want it to work for you. For some people, it may be specialist software is recommended. So we could have a note taker or a brain in hand app, which will be able to organise and help you with your planning. Software to do mind maps to start you with your assessments and things. For some people, the assessment may require that you have exam concessions. For example, some people might benefit from rest breaks throughout their exams. Extra time, sort of 25%. Extracted exam conditions. It may be the fact that in a hall, taking your exams is an anxiety-provoking situation. Therefore, a discussion may be had that you could have an extracted exam with a small group of people, or a use of your computer. For some people, it may be an alternative assessment, and that's something that you could talk to your personal development tutor about. For example, some people may find group presentations, extremely anxiety provoking. So that may be a case that you might work with your mentor on strategies how to work with that, but it may be the fact that you can have a conversation to think of, is there an alternative assessment that could be arranged, enabling you to get the degree, but just doing it in a different slightly way. You will have a personal development tutor that will stay with you, and if you choose to talk to them about your well-being and your health, and they should get to know you quite well over the 3 years or 4 years that you will be with us at Marjohn. Also, library staff, where you could have some special help that way. We have different floors in the library, and some are very quiet floors and quiet rooms. So it may be the fact that you would wish help with some academic studies, you didn't want to talk to your mentor about it, so there are specialist people on hand that understand mental health, that be able to work through and support you that way. We also have chill out rooms at Marjohn's, which will there's even a nap room. You usually find the staff in there, but if they're not in there, then you have got places that you can go, quiet places to just take yourself away for that little bit of time before you start again, including the library as well. We have a quiet floor, the nap room and chill out rooms. An important thing that you may get through your assessment is a specialist mentor, and I'll hand you over to Sarah, because Sarah will talk to you in more detail about what you can get from mentoring at Marjohn's.
Thank you, Amanda. Sorry, I had trouble switching the slides then. I too can corroborate that the nap room is really quite nice. But we do try and refrain and encourage the students to use that. Right, as Amanda said, myself, her, Tori and Amanda are specialist mentors. And what do specialist mentors do? We're all fully qualified and either members of UMAN or the BPS. Usually, if you are awarded a specialist mentor through DSA, the first question I'm asked is, what does a mentor do? I suppose I tend to look at it like an academic bridge, in that majority of students, I would say, have issues at some time with motivation, procrastination, feelings of being overwhelmed. I think this is all natural to all of us. However, if you have a mental health condition, those feelings can be absolutely overwhelming and you can struggle to find strategies to overcome them. So hence the mentor comes in. There are various strategies that we can try and we use to help you overcome your anxiety and help you overcome any barriers you've got to studying. We can help with time management, which tends to be an issue for a lot of our students. And please be assured, as Angelina said in the counselling slide, it's a confidential service. Anything you say in that room is confidential to us. The only time we will break confidentiality is if we feel it's necessary and after discussing it with you. We are very student driven. So I hope that you can see from this presentation that your mental health matters to us, and indeed it always has at Marjohn. Throughout the whole COVID lockdown, we have remained working. We were trained up to use Teams, to work remotely, confidentiality. And can I say, the majority of students have stayed with us and are progressing and succeeding, which is really nice to hear. We're very aware that our third years have not had the experience that they wanted, so we are looking into that. And it's very much prioritising those students coming back to us and those starting with us, be it you're a mature student or a student straight from school. For whatever reason you decided to come back to university, your mental health is important to us. Please, when you need help, ask. I hope this has shown you that there is always somebody to ask. You can contact the student support team. As Amanda said, here's the email address, but also use your peer students. The RSAs and the student ambassadors are excellent. You know, they're the ones who know what you are going through and they will help support you, signpost the way. So with that, I would like to hand back to Phil and the student ambassadors, and if there's any questions. And thank you very much for listening and seeing our presentation today.
Brilliant. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you, Angeline. Yeah, fantastic stuff, guys. Really useful information about the ways that you can access student support at Marjon. If anybody's got any questions, I'll post in the Q&A bar at the start of the presentation, so hopefully you guys can see that. Yeah, please do send your questions in. I think if we go to Angeline, and we'll have a couple of questions about the counselling service at Marjon. So I think there's always sort of concerns about how often you can access the counselling service. So how many times can you self-refer to the counselling service? Can you do that more than once?
Thanks. So that made me sit up when you said my name, then like to attention. Hi. Yes. Again, I'm really proud of the fact that Marjon, there's no limit. For as long as someone's registered as a student at Marjon, they can certainly re-refer, self-refer throughout their studies. We do sort of encourage small sort of gaps. That's not enforced, just to sort of have some time when counselling has ended before someone might contact us again. But if they do so, they certainly wouldn't be refused. Does that answer that, Phil?
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you very much, Angeline. And just sort of a quick follow-up about sort of how flexible our appointments are, and how we understand that people might be quite nervous about accessing that service, and so it's sort of putting the support in place there.
Yeah, it's really important to Diane and I that we are approachable. We want to be how we would want someone to be for us. So as I said earlier, students can self-refer. They don't have to go through a wellbeing appointment, but either way is absolutely fine. And I've just forgotten what you asked me then, Phil. Could you say it again?
It was just about how flexible the appointments are and how they can be accessed, that sort of thing, really.
Yeah, great. Okay, well, I'm just proving that we're human too, I think now. We need to be flexible in order to support students. We understand that students other than Marjon life also have other commitments, maybe other employment or whatever that might be, their families, and so we work with our clients in terms of when they can make appointments. Sometimes lectures are cancelled. We understand that this can happen, so we always appreciate very much so a quick call or an email to say that someone needs to cancel for that day, and we're very open to reappoint and negotiate that.
Brilliant, thank you, Angeline. I think now is probably a really good time to bring in our student ambassadors. So our student ambassadors are current students at Marjon who sort of represent us at a number of events and really speak about the student experience. So Casey, if we come to you first, I was hoping that you could just speak a little bit about the student support at Marjon and the supportive environment that we have here.
Yeah. So student support, I have used student support, and they were at a brush home. So they were able to put that in place with my lecturers to make sure that I was still receiving the help and support that I needed in my lectures. But the overall support at university is just amazing. I go to my PDT a lot, more than I probably should. They want to and they're just always there, no matter if it's academic or something more personal. And it's the same with the counselling service. They're always there for you. They are very much, you can go in and just, when you get there, you can just talk. It's a very like an open feeling, and it's very trustworthy and comfortable in there. So the overall service at university is they are there for your well-being. I've received a lot of support through them, and overall it's helped me to become a better and more confident person.
Brilliant, thank you, Casey. Ryan, if we come to you, sort of similar question, the sort of environment and the way to access student support, how have you found sort of Marjon in the environment here?
Yeah, I'd probably echo what a lot of the guys have said in terms of it's really benefited that we are such a small university. I think that's probably, some people like that, some people don't, but I think in terms of mental health and seeking help for that's probably like a massive benefit to just being a small university. Accessing help is so much easier, and when you talk to them, it's quite personalised. They know you really well. You're not just a number, it's more you know, it's deeper than that. You're quite human. It's nice contact to have, I think. And like Casey said, you know, you've got your PDTs that you can always go to speak to, whether it's work related or not. You know, they're always happy because they know you personally. They're always happy to help, happy to have like a coffee with you and just sit down and talk about stuff, or, you know, go and meet them in your office. And I've always found that accessing any student related help is really easy. They're quite flexible with their hours and things like that, and they're always willing to fit you in somewhere. So it's been really supportive environment, I think, for me.
Brilliant, thank you, Ryan. Sarah, I'll come to you in a minute with a question that we've got. Actually, I thought I just mentioned that Sarah mentioned our RSAs earlier. So our RSAs are students who work and live in campus. So we have an RSA for each hall. So if there's any issues that relate to your living situation, then those guys are there. And that's very much a gateway where, you know, you could speak to an RSA about an issue that you might be having, and then if that needs to progress on to student support, then there's that option there as well. Sarah, if we come to you, a question about the process of doing an application. Obviously, it might be quite a long process. People might be a bit worried about committing to the process. What happens if somebody starts their application thinking they're going to come to one university and then that changes, or they decide to defer for a year? Can that application sort of be moved from university to university?
Yes. Basically, we say start your application now. It can be quite a long-winded process, but if it has to defer, it can defer. The fact that you've started it will probably make it easier. So obviously we'd like you to come to Marjon, but if you decide to go to another university, that application will just follow you, and at least you will know what evidence you need and how to access the things, and maybe you will have discussed the things that you need for your support. As Amanda said, you know, you're an individual and everybody has, where some might benefit from rest breaks, others benefit from equipment, others mentoring. There's also study skills. You can hone down and work out which would suit you best. And if you start that process, then even if you defer or move to a new university, you can take that application with you.
Thank you, Amanda. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Angeline. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Casey, for brilliant student perspective there. As I mentioned, any questions for the team, then please do feel free to email them in. I'll also drop in to the Q&A bar shortly our student liaison inbox. So I'm part of the student liaison team, so we are more than happy to answer any questions you've got if it's about your course or sort of events that we're running. But we're also happy to pass on questions or get it to the right person if your question does relate to student support or accommodation or anything like that. So I'll drop that in now. And yeah, we're more than happy to pass on any emails that come in. Thank you again to the team. Thank you all for coming. Have a great day and stay safe.